Hello, welcome to Jackrabbit Journal. It is tournament time again for the SDSU basketball teams. Big dancing for both the Jackrabbit men and the women. And the men will be up first this weekend, playing on Friday at 3:30 or so Central Time. It's set for 3:20, but somewhere around that time in Spokane, Washington, taking on Maryland out of the Big Ten Conference. The Jackrabbits get a 12 seed this year. That's the best that they have had. They were a 14 4 years ago when they played Baylor. They were a 13 3 years ago when they played Michigan. And Maryland this year is a little bit or a lot like Michigan was then.
The Michigan team we played a few years ago had ended up having 5 first-round draft picks, and Maryland could possibly have that before it's all said and done. I mean, we saw them in the Cancun Challenge, so we know about them. I mean, they're physically they're huge, and it's going to be the biggest team, the most powerful, most athletic team we've played all year.
Well, the Jackrabbits are the Summit League tournament champions for the third time now in the last 5 years. Got a relatively comfortable 8-point win over North Dakota State in that tournament championship game after those 2 harrowingly close wins over Oral Roberts and Denver in the first 2 rounds of the tournament. So on to the big dance, and lots of reaction coming up from the men's players in a bit. The SDSU women, meanwhile, left little doubt in their 3 wins in the Summit League tournament on the run to the championship, capped off by a 6-point win over a very good South Dakota team in the final. And good to see the Jacks get going on a roll now, going into the NCAAs. The women will play on Saturday out in California, a 5:30 Central Time game against the University of Miami. Miami is 24-8 this year. They played Baylor very close. Baylor only lost 1 game this year. Miami lost to Notre Dame in the semis of the ACC tournament. Anyway, the Jackrabbits are a 12 seed as well this year, and that suits them just fine.
I thought 12 was about where we should be and kind of what I hoped to be. You know, last couple of years I think we've been a seed and maybe gotten bumped back for different reasons. You know, logistics go into a lot of this. So I think 12 is actually a really true seed based on where everything fell. I think Miami was seeded very well, Stanford was seeded very well, USF was seeded very well. So everybody in our kind of pod there, I think, is about where they're supposed to be, and now we'll see who can play really well for a couple of days.
Well, much more from the Jackrabbit players when we come back. Thoughts from Macy Miller and Gabby Bover and Chloe Korneman and Clarissa Ober on the chance to dance and the chances of an SDSU win in the national tournament.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. One of the usually once-in-a-lifetime opportunities for a college basketball player, and that's not really the case, I guess, for the SDSU women since they get there almost every year, but it's the chance to get together with your teammates, go through the emotional ride known as Selection Sunday, or in the case of the Jackrabbit women, Selection Monday. They gathered at Cubby's in Brookings this week to find their fate. And the Jacks get a 12 seed in the tournament this year, the highest since 2009 when they went in as a 7 seed. The Jacks will play Miami on Saturday on Stanford's home court in California. So excitement, yes, certainly, but now it is time to get down to business.
It's been a while since we had that first game win, you know, to make it to the second round. My sister was a part of that team, so I feel like I got a little more pressure to maybe one-up her or not, but yeah, you're right. We've set goals, preseason goals, and that was one of them. You know, we've been to the tournament multiple times, and it just seems we come up a little short each year. So this year it's a little more of a business trip. I think our younger girls kind of have started to see that too. So just hoping that we can get that done.
I think we can honestly go win a game. We could win a couple of games, honestly. Like, we've stayed with the really good game, like really good opponents. So having that mentality, knowing we can stay with these people and even beat them, is just a good mindset we have right now coming in.
Getting into the tournament is fun and it's great, but it's getting old to get there and lose your first game. You know, we've done it before. My sister and Ketty have been a part of that team where they've won that one game. And I feel like that's something that, you know, we're good enough to do. We are great. We have amazing talent on the team. We just need to play with the energy and effort that it takes to, you know, win a game.
Going in as a 12 seed, it's even better. And then facing Miami, we're excited to play them, and we're excited to go not just go there to play a game. We want to win a game, and that's our goal, is to move forward in the tournament.
You know, I'm getting old enough now where I'm one of the few that remembers that win we had back in 08, 09, you know, and that was great. Our team really embraced that, and it made a lot kind of happen for us after that. So now it's time for us to try and move forward and get another win. Miami's a really tough matchup. A lot of athleticism, a lot of quickness. They can do some things that maybe some teams in our league can't do. So we'll have to be ready for that. But at the same time, we can spread them out and probably play a style that they're not used to as well. So big challenge in front of us, but we're pleased with how we're playing right now. We'll certainly take a lot of momentum into the game.
Probably the most talented team that I've been on since my career here at SDSU, just because, I mean, at each position, I feel like we're just solid. And so to see that and then add that toughness portion, we're hard to beat. When you got talent plus toughness, that's a hard team to beat. So it'll be fun to see what we can do.
And our David Brown will travel with the women's team this year. You can follow him on Twitter and YouTube for reports up to, during, and after the game against Miami. Well, up next, the Jackrabbit men face a power conference powerhouse in the first round on Friday. We will hear from Jake Biddle and Deondre Parks and the guys about taking on Maryland.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. A crazy story this year about the men's NCAA bracket getting out early this year. Somebody had leaked it. It showed up on social media about 20 minutes after the TV selection show had started on Sunday. But by that time, the Jackrabbit men had already seen their name pop up on the big screen at Cubby's. The pairing was one of the first announced, and after the initial thrill wore off, the reality set in that Maryland is a really good team. It's going to be a really tough matchup. The Jacks were at the same tournament as Maryland in Cancun back in November. Didn't play the Terps, but got to see them up close. And you get who you get. The Jacks are going to have to upset somebody. So here are the guys on the matchup and the thrill of being back in the tournament.
I got a little butterflies in my stomach. You know, I just got really excited. I feel like a kid again. And basically the same feeling I got when we just beat NDSU. I mean, it's just an overwhelming and incredible time right now.
I was a little nervous. You know, it's a first-time experience for me, but it felt great. It felt real great, you know, and I think all the guys are ready to play, and, you know, we're excited to get there and, you know, try to make a run in the tournament.
And it's been a long time coming since my freshman year, so these last few years, it's been tough, a lot of ups and downs, so this is just a surreal moment for me and for my family, and it's a great opportunity.
This is something I've dreamed about ever since I was a little kid. You know, just watching the tournament when I was a little kid, March Madness, and just going crazy, thinking one day, man, I'd love to play in that.
This is kind of one of the reasons I came to SDSU. I wanted to get an opportunity to do this, and now that I'm here, I'm just trying to soak in every second of it.
I got the chills right now still, so I've been, you know, working for something like this my whole life, and right now it's paying off. And just to be in the NCAA tournament is like a huge accomplishment for me. And, you know, my people back at home are proud of me, and I want to continue to make them proud and try to win a game in the tournament.
We got to prepare for it just like any other game, and I think we really just got to focus on what we do, you know, and I think as long as we play solid defense and rebound, and hopefully our offense will be clicking finally, because it really hasn't been too great these last few games. So I think if all three of those things we do well, I think we will have a chance to shake things up a little bit.
I mean, this is who we have, and we're going to prepare. I don't want it to be one of these deals where we're just happy to be in the tournament. I mean, the goal next is to win a game.
We went down to Cancun and we got to watch them play a little bit, and they are really big, so that was my first thought, is we're going to have to rebound the ball. That's pretty much the only thing I know about them right now.
There's a team we looked at back in Cancun. It seems like a while ago that we were looking at them, and I think it'll be a good matchup. We're just ready to go out and play.
They have a great point guard. You know, I think if you're going to have a best team, you want to be strong up the middle. Great point guard, great center. And they have a great point guard, and they have really three guys inside that are bigger than anybody we have. And one of those guys plays the 4, Carter. So, I mean, it just is going to be, I mean, we're going to have to play great defense. We're going to have to gang rebound, and we're going to have to shoot the ball great, because we're going to have a hard time scoring inside.
They tie their shoes up the same way we tie ours up. We won't back down from anybody. And this team's, and even in the conference tournament we fought in, if we go in every game thinking that, I think we can come out, and do some big things.
We do have experienced guys. We have tough kids. And it's just, it's 40 minutes. It's not like we got to play them 27 times. We just play them once.
Well, big thrill for all the Jacks, especially the seniors, and maybe more so for Deondre Parks, who came from a less than ideal upbringing in Flint, Michigan, and now to the national tournament. His incredible story is coming up next.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. You may have seen our story on South Dakota State senior Deondre Parks. If you have, it is worth seeing again. It's how a kid from Flint, Michigan grew up without a father, around gangs and guns and the water crisis now in his hometown, and how he has survived to live and thrive as a college basketball star and as a father figure now to his younger brother. Here's David Brown.
This is Deondre Parks. This is a 6'1", 194-pound starting guard for the South Dakota State basketball team. And this is not his story. This is his reality. Away from the bright lights and shiny hardwood lies something much darker, a place routinely described as the most dangerous city in America. But to Deondre, Flint, Michigan is home.
Growing up, it was rough. It made me who I am today as far as toughness and, just competing at anything I do. A lot of drugs, a lot of guns, gang banging, a lot of deaths. You see every corner you see a liquor store, you see burnt houses down, in a row, probably the whole block.
With scenes today that mirror third world countries, it's hard to imagine Flint was once the epitome of industry. General Motors was founded there, providing thousands of jobs, including one to Deondre's grandmother. But once GM consolidated its productions, plants started to close, workers lost their paychecks, and Flint disintegrated into an abyss of poverty.
It's just a poor environment, but some people make it out, some people don't.
If Deondre's childhood was any indication, he was never supposed to leave. Abandoned by his birth father at the age of 3, he saw his mom's new boyfriend sent to prison for armed robbery.
So at the age of 9, my mom started talking to me like, I need you to grow up quicker than what a normal kid would do.
But it wasn't long before the streets would start to make an imprint on Deondre's life. With no sustainable income, he looked up to neighborhood drug dealers, who would use him as a marijuana runner, making up to $200 a day.
At age 11, I was doing it. Mom never knew. Didn't ever plan on telling her, but I'm older now and I thank God I wasn't caught.
With easy money running around, Deondre's lifestyle became more envious, and jealousy breeded contempt in the form of multiple gun threats.
Did you ever get robbed?
Yeah, I got robbed. 10th grade year. I got robbed coming from my guy's house. I got fancy clothes on, shoes, and just some, I call them scrubs, lowlifes who just, look for people to plot on and take what they don't have.
The only thing Deondre had away from the seedy underworld of Flint was the hardwood.
I'm not really like a school guy, but I love the game of basketball and I'll do anything to play it.
Deondre excelled as a star player at Flint Northwestern High School. But in the summer between his junior and senior years, his close friend Ray was murdered after attempting an armed robbery. And Deondre nearly went down a path seemingly predetermined by the city's conditions.
We all wanted revenge. We planned on it. We plotted. We even talked about doing it. We all had guns at that age, so it was easy for us to go over there and just shoot up his house and kill whoever in there. My mom kind of talked me out of it. She's like, you do this, think about what's gonna happen with your brothers and sisters, you won't see them again. A gun crime affects home.
Deondre transferred to Kingdom Prep in Columbus, Georgia, got his high school diploma, and enrolled at Iowa Lakes Community College.
I would say if I didn't go to prep school, I'd probably be doing what I seen everybody else do, or I'd probably be dead.
Deondre may have used his athletic ability to escape Flint, but Flint's problems have an inability to escape Deondre.
How many friends or family members died before you came to college?
It's been a few. I'm trying to count them off in my head now. It's been 11.
His mind and heart were in Flint, but his body was in Estherville, Iowa, trying to attract the attention of a Division I school. His head coach at Iowa Lakes, Troy Larson, was a former assistant at South Dakota State, and that led to a conversation with SDSU head coach Scott Nagy.
There's so many fingers that run through his family, and I didn't know every single situation that was going on there, and I'm not even sure I still do. But I think when we recruited him, I mean, we understood that we were getting a kid from a pretty tough situation.
Deondre jumped at the chance to come to Brookings, a tranquil city that provided an atmosphere most take for granted, but Deondre accepted with open arms.
Nobody hates anybody, nobody want to kill anybody, and I had to adapt to that. I'm just thankful to be here and see like a different community culture. Instead of, back at home, you gotta watch over your shoulder, who in this car, who in that car.
In his first season at SDSU, Deondre led the Jacks in scoring and helped them advance to the second round of the NIT. Frost Arena provided a sanctuary from the bitter cold he encountered from the outside world.
Just being out here with those guys takes my mind off a lot of things. But it's just like when the lights go off after the game, everything hits me again.
Over the summer, Deondre returned to Flint to visit his mom and 5 younger siblings. And he never knew a simple task would foreshadow a national crisis.
One morning I woke up and turned it on, getting ready to brush my teeth, and it came out brown. But we kind of knew something was going on with the pipes then, but the full story wasn't out about the lead in the water.
After the city of Flint changed its water source in 2014 to the Flint River, untreated water caused lead from aging pipes to leak into the supply. Now Deondre's family can only shower once a week, and his mom has to drive upwards of 2.5 hours just to find bottled water. But no matter the precautions, the damage has already been done.
My mom's real scared of it. My 2 little brothers were just diagnosed with lead poisoning. So she don't want to take like a higher risk of them being affected anymore. My 3-year-old brother can't talk because of the lead poisoning. It's like, I guess it's like eating his brain away or something like that they were saying, but it can be cured. My 10-year-old brother has seizures. Everything be fine with him, he'd be playing a video game, and then next thing you know, you just see his eyes roll in the back of his head. It's because he has lead poisoning.
Once again, basketball was Deondre's escape. He remains one of SDSU's leading scorers, but there are times where even the brightness of the court can't help him escape the darkness.
I see him thinking more this year than instead of just playing. I see some of the frustrations off the floor that leak onto the floor. I mean, I can see those things.
Maybe Deondre is thinking more, but if anything, it's helping him finally figure out how to save his family and himself. After all, why else would a 23-year-old just months from graduating become the guardian of his 14-year-old brother?
He was disrespecting my mom, staying out late. I took it upon myself. I'm like, send him down here with me. Send him down here with me, let me take some of the stress off your back.
Even in the midst of his senior season, when college athletes are supposed to be relishing their final days before entering the real world, Deondre understands basketball, unlike family, won't last forever.
Moving down here, he see guys like me, George, Jake, everybody on the basketball team doing something different than worried about fancy clothes and fancy jewelry and driving a nice car and having money in your pocket. I told him that's short term. And, going to college can't help you long term.
Whether he plays professionally somewhere or doesn't, basketball is going to end. And so then the question is going to be, what are you going to do with your life? Are you going to be prepared for when it's done?
Life has certainly been colorful for Deondre Parks. With tattoos honoring those he's lost and the city's landscape permanently on his mind and near his heart, Flint will always define where Deondre's from. But it will never define who he is. Basketball players may be measured by numbers, but Deondre's determination, motivation, and effort will ensure he never becomes a statistic.
God put his toughest soldiers through the toughest moments, and I've been through a hell of a lot. And you know, I'm still here, I'm still happy, still playing the game of basketball. I will continue until it's time for me to put it away.
Well, up next, the basketball team's not the only ones in national tournaments this weekend. The Jackrabbits have a record number of wrestlers qualified for the D1 championships in New York.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
South Dakota State has 5 wrestlers going this weekend at the Division I National Championships at Madison Square Garden in New York. Matches will get going on Thursday with the championships on Saturday night. The Jackrabbits will have Seth Gross at 141 pounds. They got both Kosher brothers from Wagner, South Dakota. Alex at 149, David at 174. Cody Pack is in again at 157. He is 27-3 this year. And Nate Roeder, a sophomore from Spearfish, South Dakota, back in the championships at 197. There's 33 wrestlers in each weight class. The top 8 will earn All-American honors, and we wish the guys well. We'll see how it shakes out, and we'll see you next week on Jackrabbit Journal.